Good evening, fuckers, and welcome to the next Train Simulator Classic request video. And this one is one of mine, but the reason for this one is to show a new route that I've got, which is now available to be selected as a as a route. So at the end of this video, I'll show you how to get this particular route. It is the DPS Northeast England. I'll show you where to go to get it, the requirements, and also the map showing the area it covers, which is quite a sizable area actually. But it's completely free, and considering that a lot of these freeware sort of, downloads for Train Simulator Classic, they nearly always have this huge fucking great list of requirements, and it's always, fucking endless stream of Armstrong Powerhouse or ATS stuff. This one, no Armstrong Powerhouse stuff at all, no ATS. It's all stuff that you would get from Steam, if you were just buying regular regular DLCs, if you were like a casual player like I am, and like I suspect the vast majority of people who watch these videos are. So yes, anyway, so yeah, the route is Northeast England, and we are going from Sunderland platform 3 to Middlesbrough platform 2. The reason I chose that is because, it's two of the most well-known towns in this area. So why not? Sunderland versus Middlesbrough football match. I'm taking the away fans to well, I'm sure it would be a really friendly local derby. As for the train, well, on my Weardale and Teesdale route, you get an awful lot of early DMUs being used. So I thought I'd continue that trend, so I've chosen a DMU that has not yet appeared in any of our videos. So we're going in the good old British Rail Blue Class 105 DMU, and we're taking a four-car train. As far as specifics, it's summer, it's cloudy, and it's 11 AM. Yeah. So that's the setup. Let's get this underway. And here we are. There you go. And it was there somewhere. Now, because this is a freeware DLC, I am going to be far more lenient towards this than I would be if it was a paid one. Because, it's free. You're not wasting money on it. So let's be honest, this station does look rather basic, but it works. You may notice there are no actual signs up showing us the name of it. This is Sunderland, as you can clearly see in the HUD here. Now the reason for that is you actually get quite a selection of signage available, depending on what sort of era you're setting the run at. And I forgot to install any of them. So yeah, that's why they are not appearing. So yeah, if you install the signage along with the DLC, then yeah, you'll have plenty of signs telling you where the station, what the station is. And as it is, there are still some where yeah, you will get the signs appearing anyway. So it's not the end of the world. So let's get the train set up. Here we are in the cab of the 105. Which, like I say, this is a loco that we have. Oh, I don't want to switch those off. But yeah, this is one that we have not seen before. The instrument lights don't seem to do a great deal, but yeah, they are there. Somewhere here is the windscreen wipers. Yeah, we don't need those. But I think that is everything set. Yeah, we've already got the engine started. That's all good. Yeah, we are all ready to go. So have one last look at the old exterior. Being an early DMU, this does have manual gears, so let's get underway. 20 mph limit as we start. Tell you, for an early DMU, this thing has great acceleration rate. Now, I'm not going to take it up to, yes I am going to take it up to second gear, but yeah, we're not going to be going too far beyond this because, yeah, speeding already. So once we get through this, I'm pretty sure it's a fairly small tunnel, this one. We'll take a look at the exteriors. Okay, this tunnel is small, but then there's a second one straight after it. We will eventually get to a point where I can show you the exterior. So now we're in a 45 mph section. Let's get some more speed up. And even more so once we get into the 55. So we'll stop at Hartlepool on the way. But other than that, yeah, that will do for stops along the route. But here we are. I mean, say this is a free DLC, and these exteriors are at least as good, and in some cases better, than you get from paid for route DLCs. It's fantastic the job they've done on this. Really is impressive. Now, I've only done a couple of very short tests, so I've got to the next station, but I've not gone beyond that. So there's a lot that we're going to be seeing here that I've not yet seen in the game. So you're certainly going to get my first impressions for some of these stations, and and some of the locale. Obviously, I don't know the area at all, but I'm sure there are at least a couple of people who frequently watch these vids who will know the area very well and can let me know if they've done a good job of it or not. I suspect they have done. I mean, you know, it's free. You can't argue with it. Even if it's not accurate, it does look good. And you know, it's yeah. I mean, I'd be quite, you know, quite happy with this if I paid the, you know, paid for this one as I had all the other Root DLCs I've got. This is the first freeware one I've got for this game, and it has set quite a high bar for all, you know, any others, any future paid for DLCs, or rather any future freeware DLCs that I'll be installing. And believe me, after this, seeing how good this is, I certainly will be. So we have a decrease to 45 mph in the max speed coming up in just under a mile. Hopefully we can coast that. It is fairly short, and then we'll be able to go back up to the 55 max, which I think is the fastest we can do on this route. It's certainly the fastest I've encountered. So CM station is a very small station indeed that we're coming up on in about a mile and a half. But that is as far as I have got in my tests of this route. So yeah, after that I'm as much in the dark as anyone else. So yeah, we were able to coast just fine. We got a max speed of 60 coming up in just over a mile and a half, so we can do faster than 55. Not sure what the top speed of a 105 is. I would imagine it's probably around 70 to 75. So we're in the 45 mph zone here. Fairly long and rather sharp curve, so I can clearly see why this is 45 mph. So just entering the 55. And now we can throttle up some 15 mph off that. So yeah, some speed is very much in order. So CM station coming up right here. There we are, very short, and yeah, we just gone past it, but yeah, there was a sign there. So even though I've not installed the the actual signage for the route, there will still be signs at, well, at least one station anyway. So once we enter the 60 mph zone, we'll get some max throttle again. There we go. And it was around here that I stopped my tests, so yeah, from here on I have no idea what to expect. We're in a 1 in 102 uphill. Let's try and maintain some speed. I don't want to just keep dropping it right down, but it looks like I don't have much option. In fact, yeah, we're fast reaching the pinnacle of this climb, so hopefully the downhill section that's coming up pretty soon after it will, yeah, let us pick up the speed that we've lost. Well, we are picking up some speed. It's not as much as I would have liked. So let's give it a helping hand. Well, yeah, that really is helping it. Frames per second are absolutely fantastic, and the reason for that is that they've really gone about this the right way, which is they've focused on nearby objects, and like the really distant ones, they've just left them out. And why wouldn't you? You know, it just makes so much sense. You know, yes, the nearby objects, yeah, of course we can see those, but you don't need to put in lots of like distant objects and that, because all that's going to do is kill the frames per second. I mean, look at the you know, the Transpennine runs. Whenever I approach Leeds Station, the frames per second absolutely nosedives. And for what reason? You know, you're driving the train. That's what you're going to see. You don't need to have all these buildings that are way off in the distance all being fully rendered. So that's how they've approached it with this. You know, render the nearby objects, but don't worry about, you know, objects in the distance. It makes sense, and the benefits are, you know, yeah, your frames per second are fine from start to finish. So you really cannot argue with the decision they've made as far as, you know, putting the route together. So we're keeping our speed quite nicely here, 59.6 and 75% throttle. Lovely sewage works there. So yeah, rather vast cesspits. Then again, we have just left Sunderland, so there you go. While it has nothing to do with this particular route DLC, I've got to say the Class 105 is driving very nicely indeed. a much overlooked train in this game is the Class 105. The thing is, whenever you look at it in the in its images, and yeah, it's still like it here. I mean, it's a Thomas the Tank Engine sort of diesel face, and he's permanently with that sort of like frown expression on it. But the only sort of downside about the Class 105 is that there are no career scenarios featuring it, which probably goes a long way to explaining why there are no there are no, or it doesn't get a great deal of coverage. So I wasn't expecting it to be this big a gap between the last station, whatever it was, Seafood or whatever, I can't remember the name of it, and the next one. We were, we were about the speed. We were on a 1 in 126 downhill, that would explain it. We need to do some controlled braking here, especially as we have a 50 mph section coming up. Now, does that mean that there is a station coming along, or does that mean it's just could be a fairly sharp curve or something? It is also still going downhill, so we'll coast this part, or we'll almost certainly still need to brake, especially as it's a downhill section that starts before we reach that 50, so we will certainly need to reduce our speed. And I realise that Hartlepool and Middlesbrough are quite close to each other, so yeah, even though, like I say, we will be making a stop at Hartlepool, but I didn't think it was going to be quite so far away from our starting point. Then, like I say, I don't know North East England all that well. We've not needed to brake at all. We may still need to, though, once we hit the downhill section, which will be any second now. Here we are. 1 in 102, it's quite a steep one. Fantastic viaduct there. So we're into the 50, and yeah, we do have quite the curve here. Okay, it's not the Morpeth curve, but you don't want to take any chances. Right, so we're into a 60, but we're not in this for very long before we then got to go down to 45. I can only assume that's another sharp curve. So really, I should stop accelerating. Let's coast a bit more. And we're still gaining speed. Yeah, we're on this 1 in 102 downhill now. There you go. I mean, look at that. okay, they focused on nearby objects, but it doesn't mean they've completely skimped out on distant ones. I mean, it looks fantastic, and I'll remind you again, this is a free DLC. And okay, it does require 8 DLCs to be installed in order to use this, but it's 8, like, you know, regular Dovetail game ones. It's not like third party, and the chances are that even, like, you know, casual players would have them all. I mean, I've got them all, and I am very much a casual player of this. You know, I'm not one of these who will criticise the hell out of a low-code DLC because the lights are in a slightly wrong place, or the sounds are from an earlier model or anything like that. Believe me, there's plenty such criticisms out there. Oh, these lights are supposed to be 2 inches further to the right than they are in this model, therefore this gets an absolute fucking pasting. It's 0 out of 10 from me. You know, you get all that. I don't give a monkeys about that. You know, if the train looks good and if it drives well and the sounds are good, even if they're wrong, that's fine by me. You know, that's what I'm interested in. So we've got a lot of stops here. It really does look like there would be a station there, but it's not appearing on the HUD for some reason. Oh, here we are. And it is Hartlepool. So this will be our first stop. And Middlesbrough is 18 miles away. So. It's just, yeah, I should really be braking a lot more. We've got a 15 mph section coming up, so we must be changing the line over points. There we go, right, so we're fine now. Absolutely crawling along, but it's what we need. Should also point out that this route does not come with any scenarios, but there are scenarios available for it from the same place as the route itself. Again, I'll show you where to get the route from and everything else at the end of this video. Probably do with bringing the gears down a bit. Maybe not down as much as the second gear, but so here we are at Hartlepool. Anyone getting off or on? Here's your stop. Considering how basic Sunderland station looked when we were there, I mean, for all I know, that is what Sunderland Station looks like. You know, all very square and what have you. This is a massive improvement over that. And bearing in mind the quality of the like, you know, surroundings that we've had since we left Sunderland Station, I can only assume that, yeah, Sunderland Station is that basic. Anyway, we are all set. Let's get underway. So no further stops now until we reach Middlesbrough itself. Oh, I just managed to catch that in time. So in half a mile we actually have a 70 mph limit, so that's the fastest we've done so far on this line. Yeah, taking out the 25 doesn't do fuck all. I thought 50 might, but no, we're still slowing down, so yeah, let's make sure of it, and then it really sort of like suddenly, bosh, comes to life. Alright, so actually we're now on a 35 section, but not for long, as it comes down to 25, so we must be changing line there, going over those points. Yeah, it needs me to change gear, so let's go over the points first, and then we'll get that sorted. So on the 35 section for now, but yeah, the 70 is coming up. Right there, we'll wait for the rest of the train to enter it. And yeah, we are speeding, so mistimed it slightly. I thought we'd get away with it, but no. Seaton Carew is the next station, but we'll go straight through that one. Well, the old 105 has no problem getting to 70 mph, that is for sure. So I can only assume its top speed is actually nearer 80. Anyway, that was Seaton Carew station. I don't want to be losing speed at the rate that we are, so let's see if we can... I was going to say, see if we can at least slow it down, but it doesn't look like we can, so we'll get it back up to 70, and then, yeah, then we'll have a stab at trying to minimise it. And as soon as you put it into 75% throttle, it just, yeah, it's coming down at a bit of a rate. So we must certainly be at the, you know, really close to the top end of speed of this thing. So yeah, 75 looks like it's going to be its top. Oh, here we go, max speed 70. So yeah, we're maxing this thing. You know, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we could get 70 out of this. 75 rather, out of this thing. Middlesbrough now 13 miles. No idea what this is. It's not, well, if it was a station, it's no longer in use. It was not in the HUD, so yeah, no idea about what that was. So max speed decrease to 60 coming up, and then Billingham station just after that. Okay, we won't try and hold off the speed loss here. Let's see if we can coast it. We won't be able to get any max thrash as you go through Billingham, although max thrash from a class 105, it doesn't quite have the same ring to it. Okay, so we are in the 60 mph zone. So we will be able to do some max thrash through Billingham. Here we go. Max 105 thrash coming up. In fact, I had to reduce it, or reduce throttle, while we were still going through the station. So I rather underestimated how quickly this thing accelerates. This is quite the impressive train, this thing. I mean, even though it's an early DMU, it's not particularly interesting or anything like that, but driving it, it's a great one. It's a bit like the 158s, you know, they're boring trains, but driving them is, yeah, I'm quite the fan. The only thing that's just dawned on me, hopefully it'll get sorted out at some point. I don't think I've passed another train. I think it has just been me all the way through. Now I've not got it selected that I'm the only train on the network, but yeah, I've not seen any other trains go by, or at least I don't remember them. That's the only thing that's missing. But say if you, I mean, you could always just like, you know, do some scenarios and then you know, that's that problem sorted. Alright, so this 30 mph section, fast approaching. Oh, for me, I thought there was a red signal there. That, oh, that's warning us about the 30 mph. That's fine. The old style signal boxes. Dropped a bit below 30. We'll see if we can slowly get us back up there, or at the very least stop ourselves from losing any more speed, which looks like that's what we're doing. We're staying at 29.7, which is great. Well, this certainly explains the 30 mph limit. Oh, we are, yeah. Now that we're going downhill, 1 in 133. I didn't brake enough, and we've got a 60 mph section coming up, so yeah, once we rejoin this part of the main line. There we go. It's, even if we only get it up to 50, because yeah, in just a mile we've got a next speed reduction. This takes us down to 50. So Stockton on Tees is the next station. We're still on this 1 in 135 downhill section, so we need to do a bit of controlled braking to keep our speed below 50. Now got this 30 mph section coming up just before we hit Stockton station. We've still got plenty of time, so yeah, I'm braking way too early. Brakes on the 105 are okay at best, they're nothing fantastic. We're into the 30 zone. Here is Stockton railway station. So there you see where they focused on the nearby and ignored the distance, but it works fine. There's no problem with that at all. Right, so we're now into the 60, not for very long though, before we have another drop down to 25. We may as well get some speed up while we can. Alright, that'll do. Now to get us down to 25. And we have a yellow signal. And it's a solid. So what are we going to see? The next signal, I can't see it at the moment. So yeah, we'll keep going a bit slow here. I mean, Middlesbrough is less than 5 miles away, but I can't believe that that yellow signal was for that. Unless, I mean, are we going down this branch here? Yes, we are. Okay. Well, that certainly explains the 25 mph, except we've only just crossed the where that limit was. Fine, there was nothing on the repeater signal either, so we're okay. So Thornaby station is coming up in just under a mile. We've got quite a few changes in the old max speed. We'll get a yeah, okay, we'll go up to 35 once we enter this section, but obviously we will not be able to do it for very long because we've then got to get back down to 20. So let's get some acceleration up anyway. We're not really aiming for anything more than 35 though. There we go. The acceleration on this thing is not bad. We are on a downhill section as well, which probably helped it a bit. Unfortunately, I was braking too much there to be able to do an exterior shot. I mean, I'm assuming that was the T's that we've crossed. I don't really know. We've got to brake pretty hard here. There we go. Managed to overdo it, but we're still going downhill, so we'll let it take us back up to 20. Right, so the ground is now levelled out. So let's get ourselves up to 20. So here we have Thornaby Station. I must admit I can't see where those cars managed to come in or go out from, but oh well. So we can get a bit of speed up. So we start with 35, then 50 and then 55, but Middlesbrough is only 3 miles away, so we are not going to be able to go particularly fast for particularly long. So we're into the 50 section, the 50 zone. Quite a hefty old main road there. It is unfortunate there are more cars on the road than there are trains on this entire network by the looks of it, but I don't know if that was the A1, but that's the assumption that I would go on. I don't think the A1 though comes this close to Middlesbrough, does it? So I started coasting because, yeah, we got this 45 section coming up here. There's a 60 in the middle of it, but we're going to be spending so little time being able to accelerate, let alone reach 60 before this next 45. And then we have a 25 in just over a mile and a half, which is almost certainly, yeah, the entrance to Middlesbrough station itself. Get ourselves back up to doing 45. Looks like 44.6 is the best we can do. 50% throttle in 4th gear. It's not exactly criminally short, is it? So So yeah, we could be accelerating on this section, but it's such a short section before we're having to change or go back down to 45 again. It's just not worth doing. If it was a career scenario, yeah, I would, but it's not, so. Let's get ourselves down to 25. Doesn't matter if it's a single or a double, it looks like it's a single because, yeah, we're stopping at the next station anyway. plenty of the dockyard buildings. This is clearly a route that would be great for doing freight runs. And here we are. Signal up ahead is red, so that's fine. We will stop in plenty of time. So there we are. That was Sunderland to Middlesbrough in the old class 105. On a completely free DLC which looked fantastic. And the class 105 did it really well as well. I mean, 5 speeding errors. It's almost a given that I'm going to do that in these now. But yeah, that was a great one. That, and that route surpassed every expectation. Yeah, good one that. So how do you go about getting hold of this route then? And what are the requirements? Well, let's find out. So, I dare say most of you are very familiar with the DP simulation site. If you're not, dpsimulation.org.uk. Here we are. And under routes, the very first one, North East England. That's the one that we are all about. So we get the description that tells you, you know, pretty much everything you need to know. The important thing is the map. Now, unfortunately, it says click to enlarge, and when you do, yeah, if your site is anything like mine, you still can't see it, and the zooming in doesn't work either. But not to worry, you also get that map with the manual. So yeah, we'll go through that in just a sec. But yeah, DLC requirements, this is what we are particularly after. So unlike you know, your Armstrong Powerhouse, your ATS stuff, the requirements are, I mean, they're hefty enough, but they're nothing like as bad as, you know, either of those two usually are. With 2 exceptions, it's all routes. So we'll go through the routes that you need. So you need the West Coast Main Line Trent Valley, East Coast Main Line London to Peterborough, East Coast Main Line York to Peterborough, the Liverpool to Manchester, the Weardale and Teesdale network, the East Coast Main Line, that's the York to Newcastle section. So those 6 routes, it sounds like a lot. It is a lot, to be honest, but you know, they're all your regular routes that you get from Steam. So the chances are, if you are going to be getting any DLCs and you're, you know, a casual player like me, these are the routes that you're going to get, you know. So okay, yes, you do need 6 routes, but it could be worse. But you also need a couple of assets. The first one is, right, the European Loco and Asset Pack. Now, I don't think this is sold as a separate item anymore, but the chances are you've already got it anyway, because it gets included in a lot of, like, Root DLCs. But if it turns out you don't have it, then you have no reason to go out and get it separately, because it's included in the East Coast Main Line York to Peterborough route, and it could well be in some of these others, but I know for a fact, because I got this only a few days ago myself, that it is included in this one. So, you know, you're going to get it from getting this route anyway, so that's fine. The last one is the UK Buildings Volume 1. Again, this is an item that I know this one is definitely no longer being sold separately. But if we click here, this is a list of the DLCs that include the UK Buildings Asset Pack. So if you have any of these, Doncaster Works route, the Falmouth Branch Line, Northeast Corridor, New York to Philadelphia, the Horseshoe Curve route, Woodhead route, Portsmouth Direct Line, Robinson 04 and Woodhead route, not familiar with that one. Portsmouth Direct Line Collection, that's the separate one from the Portsmouth Direct Line here. Western Lines of Scotland, UK Collection, don't know what that one is. West Coast Main Line over Shap, the KwaZulu-Natal corridor, Petermarisburg to Ladysmith. I think it's the only South African one in the game. The Wherry lines, Norwich to Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft. Yeah, you have any of those, you'll have this assets set here. So yeah, the chances are you'll already have this and the European Loco pack. So it is then just a case of making sure you've got the 6 routes available. Once you've got all that, this DLC, you can just download it and install it, and you've got the whole thing. So right, we'll bring up the map so you can see exactly where this covers. So here we are in the manual. I've zoomed in quite a bit, 400%, but this way we get to see the route map in all its glory. So at the northernmost point we are at Sunderland. These ones here where it says to Newcastle, it just means they are not actually in this route, which is a shame, but considering it's a free route, you can't really complain too much. So Sunderland, down to Seaham Harbour, Hartlepool, Seaton Carew, Hartlepool, Pipe Mill, Billingham. Then we get a junction here, so this would be just carrying on to Ferry Hill, but this is where the route actually stops in the game. Down to Stockton, another junction, so if we go east, you go on to Thornaby, Tees Yard. If you're doing a passenger route, you probably avoid Tees Yard. On to Middlesbrough. There we have another junction here, so you can then carry on to South Bank, Lackenby, BSC, Tees Dock, which is effectively the end as far as if you're going east. It would carry on to Redcar. It's a shame it doesn't actually include Redcar, but you know. Or if you were going from Middlesbrough and you're heading south at that junction, so James Cook, Martin, Gypsy Lane and Nunthorpe, that's where this route effectively ends. It would carry on to Whitby otherwise, but yeah, we don't have that option. But if you weren't going to take the easterly branch, you would carry on from Stockton to Eaglescliffe. And here then we have another quite significant junction. So this is where you would you could go westwards, so you have Allens West, Teesside Airport, Dinsdale, Darlington. From Darlington you could go up to Durham. It's not that big a deal that Durham's not included, because there are 2 routes at least that include Durham and this sort of area, so you're okay. So from Darlington then, yeah, onto North Road, Hitachi Europe. I'm gonna guess Hyington. Yeah, that's maybe someone from the area can tell me how to pronounce that fucking thing. Carrying on, Newton Aycliffe, Shildon and Bishop Auckland is effectively the end of the route. If you're going westwards, it would take you to the Weardale Railway. But if we come back all the way back to Eaglescliffe, you could then head south, which would take you to Yarm and then Northallerton. And if you had gone on to Darlington, you can just go straight south from Darlington to Northallerton, and then that takes you down to Thirsk and then down to York, which is effectively the end of the line, especially if you're a passenger's service. But you do also have York Yard and Holgate sidings. Yeah, so York Yard obviously freight, Holgate sidings probably, yeah, if you're doing a scenario that's taking you right to the very end of the shift. And we have all these other areas, you know, to Scarborough, to Doncaster, to Harrogate, Hopeful Place, Harrogate. So it covers quite a sizable area, which, you know, considering it's a free DLC, I mean, yeah, ain't bad at all. But yeah, that is the new route anyway, which has now been included for your requests. And you've now also had a chance to see how it looks. And okay, it's not as good as some of the official, you know, paid for route DLCs. But for a freebie, I mean, you can't complain at all. I think they've done a fantastic job on it. So yeah, if you have the requirements, you know, to be able to run this, then there's no reason not to get it. But there we go. That is this video done. So we'll see you on the next one.